On Saturday night, Conor McGregor got knocked out in his UFC fight by Dustin Rhodes. Let's just go with Dustin Rhodes. It was the first time he got knocked out in his professional MMA career. People are saying that he's already washed up and is going to retire for the 9th time. You know what that means. A washed up fighter leaving the UFC, it's the perfect time for WWE to sign a new talent, boy. Conor McGregor joining WWE has been a thing that has been discussed over the last 5 years, ever since the Irishman's rise to the top of the combat sports world. There aren't many fighters in the UFC that have a ton of charisma like him. Take a look at Ronda Rousey, for example. She jumped from the UFC to WWE and seriously struggled to talk on the microphone. It's one of the reasons why wrestling fans didn't like her. Conor, on the other hand, is a walking charismatic machine that can still draw a lot of viewers and make a ton of money in the process for both parties. It would probably be a smooth transition for him. Most fighters who join WWE learn how to wrestle at a faster pace. If his career is really over with mixed martial arts, then we should really consider that this might happen. In today's video, we will answer the question, should Conor McGregor join WWE? I think we should start the video off by analyzing the pros and cons for WWE if this were to happen. The immediate pro would be that WWE gets the biggest name in combat sports right now. Conor McGregor would get a ton of eyes on WWE. The man sells UFC pay-per-views as the main attraction pretty much every time he's on a show. People literally travel around the world just to see his fights. I am sure a ton of people would tune into WWE, especially on Fox if we were to join SmackDown. I believe it would be an easy transition for sports fans as well. The network is available to millions of homes, and there could be a lot of promotional work that Fox could do with their football games in order to entice their viewers, their NFL fans to be specific, to watch Conor McGregor on WWE programming. Another pro that would come out of this would be WWE's social media engagement would be through the roofs. If Ronda Rousey's YouTube videos are able to pull over 20 million views, then I am sure Conor McGregor would do the same, if not more. The addition of the MMA fighter would also tremendously help their ratings. A ratings boost is always good for business. What else would be good for business is that WWE would be talked about amongst pop culture because of this new signing if it were to happen. Conor McGregor is definitely a part of pop culture and could single-handedly bring back WWE into the conversation between the youth of the world that makes up this culture. From a business perspective, it only makes sense to sign him. However, there are some problems on the creative side that I can think of. Conor McGregor is a pretty small dude. I'm not saying anything is wrong with smaller wrestlers, but he does stand tall at 5 feet 9 inches, and with his recent weigh-in, he weighs about 155 pounds. The issue that I see is putting him against bigger dudes like Roman Reigns, Drew McIntyre, or Randy Orton. Let's take a look at this picture of Johnny Gargano, who is taller and weighs more than Conor, but still looks small compared to John Cena. I can't imagine how Conor McGregor would look next to these other guys. Floyd is pretty close to his body, and he looked tiny next to the Big Show at WrestleMania 24. It might be a little bit hard to book him in matches. I understand that AJ Styles, Pac, and Daniel Bryan are close to his height, but those guys have 30 to 50 more pounds on them that helps their appearance. I just feel like his size would make his opponents look bad. Aside from his size, Conor McGregor also has kind of an ego issue. The man was involved in many controversial moments over the last 5 years. I can see him wanting more control over his character, his matches, and his promo. That's where we would probably see Vince McMahon and Conor McGregor clashing their heads. If you don't give him the complete freedom on the microphone, then you won't get the most out of him. But if you do give him complete freedom, then you can't really trust him. The guy is very crazy. WWE could also get in trouble with their sponsors if he just starts dropping F-bombs in his promos. And we need to also talk about the fact that he wouldn't even want to lose matches to these guys. I cannot see Conor wanting to lose to what he would call these fake fighters. It could be dangerous to bring him in just to win all these matches. That would make the WWE roster look like a joke. Besides making the roster look weak, Conor McGregor also has heat with the wrestlers and the fans because of things he said 5 years ago. He had some harsh words to say about the WWE roster. Conor said that he would slap the heads off each and every one of them and call them all little babies. But there's a different word. I'm kind of making it PG. You know the other word that I'm talking about, guys. Those upset a lot of WWE talent in the back, and the fans were also extremely pissed off about it. We don't know if this was in character or not, but knowing McGregor though, he really had to mean it. There was no point of him bringing it up. It's not like he knew that he wanted to sign with the WWE 5 years later. Hardcore wrestling fans do not have a desire to see him, and the wrestlers in the backstage probably don't either. WWE could be taking a huge risk by signing him to the company despite the benefits that I mentioned earlier. We need to also take a look at the pros and cons for Conor McGregor. I honestly don't think there are too many pros for him other than making some extra money, and I don't even think that's going to play a big factor. Conor McGregor has a net worth of $120 million. I don't think that he would want to join WWE even if it was for like $10 million to wrestle a couple matches a year. Conor seems to care about his reputation and his legacy. In his eyes, joining WWE would hurt his legacy. The longer I think about it, the more I see that he doesn't really have much to gain from it. Conor and his great-great-great-grandchildren are set for life. That's not even considering the future endorsements and brand deals that he has that will only make him more wealthy. When you look at it, Conor McGregor doesn't really need WWE. WWE needs Conor McGregor, and that might not even be that great of an idea. So now it's time for my final verdict, and after reviewing all the information, I do not think Conor McGregor should join WWE. You can say that Ronda Rousey was a success, but you also have to remember that she was a legit fighter that looked big and dominant in the women's division, and more importantly, she was always a huge fan of the product. She came to WWE, exceeded expectations, and fulfilled her dream. Conor McGregor has got more money, doesn't care about WWE, and would rather maintain his legacy. I could only really see him do some sort of appearance like Floyd Mayweather or like The Rock when he hosted WrestleMania. Conor McGregor could host WrestleMania, cut some promos, and knock out some jobbers or undercard wrestlers. Other than that, he should not join WWE to become a wrestler because it just would not work.
I don't know what to say to Ric Flair. This ain't no gimmick. This is the real shit. I've got to get in and fight a man for real with no script, with no nothing. I mean, Vinnie Mac's a fucking legend. I mean, they wrote Vinny off a few years ago when he dropped from the billions, and then he rose back up, and now he's back in the billionaire club. And what he's been able to do with that bunch of dweebs he has over there at the moment has been phenomenal, and I respect him for that. I'm just speaking the truth. That new age of those guys are absolute dweebs, and they just seem messed up in the head. I don't know what it is when I listen to them talk and when I listen to them carry themselves. They just don't seem right in the head. So that might have been a bit ruthless of me to say, but again, it ain't trash talk, it's true talk.
And that is it for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. Make sure to follow me on Twitter at Pllana, and I'll see you all on the next video.
And I got this soul.